series. I think obviously we've done the video about Big Finish a couple of weeks ago. Some of those problems that I talked about in that video were resolved, some of them weren't. The website has gone back to the old one and the app for the time being, so we'll see what happens with that. But today, as you can tell of course by the title and the thumbnail, I wanted to talk about the Doctor Who Prom. Now, I wasn't one of the lucky people who went to the prom. I think they did two performances. They did one at 2:30 and one at 7 p.m. in the afternoon. On Monday, the 26th, bank holiday, just gone. Today's Tuesday, the 27th, and as I say, I didn't go to the proms myself, but this morning I did go on BBC Sounds and I listened to the prom. It was of course recorded. It was covered on I believe BBC Radio 3. We're covering the prom live, and obviously it's been sort of saved for posterity. It was also filmed, and it's going to be broadcast over the Christmas period, I believe. So I look forward to that. I think I'll definitely watch it again, the broadcast version. But this was a fun little thing. I didn't really have many expectations for the prom. I've never been to a prom before myself. I'm not much of a live music guy, to be honest. I don't go to like concerts and stuff. Really. I do recall when I was much younger, 14 years ago now, my God, going to, if anyone remembers Doctor Who Live, The Monsters Are Coming, a live show which had live music and there was a story and all that. But as I say, that was 14 years ago. But people seem to have a great time. People were very excited about this, and I haven't done many videos in the past couple of months, to be honest. You may have noticed there's a few reasons for that. Some of those are sort of just life reasons, not anything particularly serious, but I just haven't quite had the chance as much necessarily. But the main reason is because I'm a bit deflated, to be honest, by the show. At this point in time, I did record a video where I was sort of talking about the season and the sort of current era, but I haven't released it. I don't think I'm going to. I don't think it's that good of a discussion video, to be honest, and I didn't rewatch any of the episodes for it because I couldn't be bothered. A little bit more time has passed, and I'm kind of now I'm like, maybe I will rewatch all the stories and do a proper video, not necessarily a review, but just sort of talking about some of those things. I don't know, but I've been, I've not been coy about my feelings on the season in my reaction videos to it and stuff, and even though in my initial reaction video I think I was much kinder to Empire of Death than most people were, but the long and short of it is that I didn't love the season generally, and that finale is really bad, and so I'm in a weird place where I'm not loving the show at the moment, and my enthusiasm to really talk about it, I'm always gonna have that, but it's lesser at the moment. But the music's always a fun thing, and so I thought, hell, let's listen to the prom and expect to have much of anything to say about it, to be honest. I just thought I'd listen to it because I like Doctor Who music, but I really enjoyed it. I thought there was a good selection of music. I think a good balance of new stuff and old hits. I'm really glad there was some stuff from Sagan. I would have liked a bit more from Sagan personally, but you know, I understand that just in terms of sheer body of work, Murray has done way more than Sagan, and also a lot of this is new stuff that is Murray, and so I think it makes sense that we really only got the one sort of suite from Sagan. In terms of the new stuff we've heard, I think it's okay. I quite liked the 60th anniversary suite, which is called The Doctor, Donna and the Toymaker, which is basically music from the Star Beast and the Giggle, I believe they said, which was fun. I think there's some good tracks there. I was less keen on the music from this season. We did get music from every episode, I think with the exception of Church on Ruby Road, although we did get the 15th Doctor's theme, of course. I like the 15th Doctor's theme. I like Ruby Sunday's theme. The more incidental music that we heard from the stories, I was less jazzed about. Not that it's bad, but I have less to say about it, to be honest. What I will say is that I think, given the way these tracks were titled and the fact that we got like suites of music from different stories, I wouldn't get your hopes up for a soundtrack release anytime soon, either for the 60th anniversary specials or for the series, because these were not individual tracks, these were sort of mashup. These were suites of different bits of music collated together into longer tracks, and the titles that were given, like Into the Vortex and 73 Yards to Find Time, and The Legend of Ruby Sunday, which covers music from both parts of the finale. I just don't think that we're going to get a soundtrack release anytime soon. In the same way that even though we've been told that a Series 10 soundtrack is coming, I don't have much hope for it, to be honest. And yeah, I don't think we're going to get a soundtrack release for these stories. I would like to see that, but I can't imagine it'll be anytime soon. I read an interview with Murray recently where he talked about most of the tracks were untitled, so clearly any progress they're making on a soundtrack, if they're making any at all, it's in the early stages. But I thought that was good. I thought obviously the selection of old stuff they played made sense. Of course you play I Am the Doctor, A Good Man, Valet Dead Gem is a good choice. That especially to perform live, I imagine would be fantastic. The companion suite was really nice. The one that is a little bit of a surprise, although a very pleasant surprise, was Abigail's song from A Christmas Carol, which I'm not really sure why that was done. A lovely vocal song. I really love it, but I mean, it's a little bit of an odd choice, but I adore that song. I adore that episode, and I adore that song. It makes me feel so Christmassy. There's such that song, more than kind of any others, really does something to me. It's a beautiful, beautiful piece of music. Lovely, just a genuinely lovely song as well. A great song. Unlike There's Always a Twist at the end, which was also performed, which I don't think is a very good song, and I don't think, of course, have sounded a lot better in the room live if you were there, but just based on the recordings we have, I don't think that was a great performance of that song, and I don't think the theme tune that they played at the end sounded good either on the recording. I'm sure it sounded brilliant live, but it did not come through well on BBC Sounds. But those were the only two that I thought sounded a bit, a couple other things I really liked. I loved the inclusion of clips and moments from certain episodes in tandem with the music. Of course, you had the 11th Doctor's Pandorica speech during I Am the Doctor, which, of course, that wasn't just I Am the Doctor. It was kind of a mashup of slightly different versions, or at least two, because you had the main version and then the Pandorica version. I believe that variation of the piece is called Words Win Wars. But it's fantastic, and I can imagine sitting in that room and that scene playing on the big screens with that music playing would be fantastic. Similarly with A Good Man, the 12th Doctor's theme, and Flatline, the moment from Flatline, which, as that theme was playing, I hoped that would be the scene they chose, and I'm very glad that it was, because it's a fantastic moment. I think it's the best use of the theme within a scene. A really great moment. Interesting as well, though, that they cut out the word infiltrating. That might just be me who noticed that, but in that speech he says, I don't know whether you're here to invade, infiltrate, or just replace us, and they cut out infiltrate, which I assume was to be more in time with the music, but yeah, I don't know, slightly not a deal breaker, but interesting. And of course it happened twice in The Legend of Ruby Sunday. You had two moments from Empire of Death, one where the Doctor's in the vortex and they're dragging the big dog along the vortex, which is not a great moment, but I'm sure it doesn't really matter the context of the scenes you're watching in the concert. Seeing a scene from the show with the music being played live, of course you're going to appreciate that. And then the Doctor and Ruby's farewell later on was also played. So I like those moments, and I think it's a great way of going, not just doing the music from the show, but also really getting a sense of how it complements what's filmed for the show, and how it works with what's happening on screen. I think is really lovely. As I say, I wouldn't have minded a bit more from Sagan and from the 13th Doctor's time. A little bit of a shame that kind of got all compressed into just the one suite. But I thought the stuff that was picked was really great. Of course, the 13th Doctor's theme, the stuff from Spyfall I wasn't expecting, but I really liked it. You had there not only the Spy Master theme, which I think is the best Master theme, and always transports me to that cliffhanger from Spyfall Part 1. But you also had a bit of The Doctor, which is the sort of James Bond track as they enter the party. It's a variation of the sort of TARDIS theme from Series 11. That's kind of James Bondified. That's a really good moment, and I love that music. I'm glad that was included. The Power of the Doctor, great stuff from that, and Demons of the Punjab, which I think was a really great inclusion, because there's no other Doctor Who music that sounds like Demons of the Punjab. Great to have those vocalists and to highlight the different things that Sagan did. So that was really great. I would have liked a bit more. I would have liked, I love Sagan's work for the Timeless Children, the Cyber Masters, that theme which incorporates the Masters theme, the Cyberman theme, and the Time Lords theme, and they're all in one. That's a lovely piece of music. I wouldn't have minded that. I wouldn't have minded the Lighthouse, which is sort of the Fugitive Doctor's music, and maybe a Flux suite, if we're sort of, if we're being hypothetical and saying if we got a 13th Doctor era prom that was primarily Sagan's work, all of that stuff would have been lovely. But I thought, for just doing a 13th Doctor, we'll do a 13th Doctor suite. What stuff are we going to pick? I thought it was good choices. The other stuff I really liked, and I'm sure would have been even more enjoyable live, in the room, was the stuff they had with, there was stuff with Maestro, which I think that was all done on the scenes. Again, I'll be interested to watch this, around the Christmas period and see these things. Great to have a bit of stuff from Shooty there. It sounded like Jinx Monsoon was doing stuff as Maestro. There was a little scene there, and they did the joke Beatles song and all that. And there was this stuff about applause being able to sort of defeat the Maestro, because applause happens when the music stops or whatever, which is, a bit of a roundabout way to get a bit of audience engagement, but it, I imagine would have been fun. And then a really genuinely nice moment where the Doctor talks about there's no such thing as bad music, which I really liked. Kind of defeats the point of the Devil's Chord, but that's, I don't think the concept for that episode is particularly strong anyway. But that moment was nice. And the other thing that I really genuinely enjoyed was Anita Dobson as Mrs. Flood. I was just sat in my living room listening to it, but I can imagine being in that room, and when she walks on and says, "Never seen a prom before," come on, that's just really fun and playful. You could tell that Anita Dobson is really relishing this character and the like I say, the playfulness with the audience, the back and forth, and she's like, "Oh well, I couldn't be an alien baddie in disguise, could I?" and all this, she's really playing it up, but that's fun, and that's, I wasn't really that interested in the Mrs. Flood mystery, but that gets me hooked again, because it's a great character that she's performing, and the fact that she's having so much fun with it is really encouraging. A great joke about Queen. Last time I went to a concert was in the 80s. I saw Queen because, of course, she's married to Brian May from Queen. So that was fun. Yeah, I thought a great audience interaction from Anita Dobson. I didn't love Catherine Tate's presenting. I know she did. She was our presenter for Eurovision this year. I didn't watch Eurovision, and I haven't done it for a number of years. It's not really my thing. But the general sort of vibe I got was that when she presented Eurovision, she was clearly very drunk, right? In a good way, but she'd had a bit. I'm not insinuating she was drunk here, but there was a kind of a chaotic energy, which at first I was a bit like, oh, is this going to be a bit of a mess? But she was clearly having fun. Again, there was a playfulness there with the audience. I think they were clearly enjoying what she was doing, and so I think it just about worked. And I think, again, for the people who were there live, I'm sure that played much better, because you're just having fun with Catherine Tate, and she's having fun. The other really interesting thing about listening to this on BBC Sounds, and I would recommend, because I'm sure these tracks are available online and stuff, I've already seen some of them crop up on YouTube. I think it's George Sheard has already put some of them up, which is great for people to listen to them. But I would recommend listening to the full thing on BBC Sounds. It's about 2 hours. But because it's the live Radio 3 coverage in the 50-minute interval, we get a bit of a discussion with Murray Gold and Matthew Sweet, who, if you're familiar with the collection, you'll know Matthew Sweet. He does the interviews, the in-conversation interviews, and of course Murray, the composer. But that was a really interesting chat. You get to talk to, you hear Murray talking about sort of his process a little bit, and they talk about the history of music in Doctor Who, and Matthew Sweet is such a fountain of knowledge for Doctor Who, not just knowledge of, lore and canon, although I'm sure he does have a lot of that, but he's got a lot of behind the scenes knowledge, which is genuinely fascinating. I think it makes him a great person to present those in conversation interviews on the Blu-rays, but it makes him a really interesting person to chat to in these sorts of scenarios, because he knows his stuff about the show, but he's the trivia he has is, I think, genuinely interesting to people who don't really care about, what happens in the stories from this. It doesn't matter what happens. They listen to stuff from older periods of the show, which I really like that as well, that we're highlighting the history of the music in the show. We listened to Tristan Carey's original score for the Daleks, and a bit of stuff from the Crotons, and a bit from Revenge of the Cybermen, so that was all fun. Matthew Sweet's got facts about all of them. Yeah, I thought it was really great. So, as I say, even if you were there in person at the Proms, I would recommend listening to the what's on BBC Sounds, because that conversation was really fun and interesting. So yeah, just all round, I don't think I've got too much to say, and I don't want to ramble on for too long about this, but I thought this was a pretty good show. It made me feel quite sad to have not been there, and I would love to see some more Proms in the future, and perhaps I might go to the next one. We'll see. But this certainly convinced me that it's a show worth going to, because it just sounded fantastic. A great set of music, great variations of new stuff and old stuff, and yeah, just a great show, and it made me enthusiastic about the current version of the show again, which I'm really happy about. I don't like not liking the show in its current state, and I've got a lot to say on that matter, but this was a fun little thing. So yeah, what did you think? Have you listened to the Proms? If not, as I say, the whole thing is on BBC Sounds for free. Go listen to it. It's also going to be broadcast on the BBC. I don't know, obviously, what channel, but that'll be over the Christmas period, so look out for that. And if you happen to be there, yeah, let us know what it was like. Was it a great show? Yeah, other than that though, thank you very much for watching. Please do like, subscribe if you haven't. All those YouTube things that YouTubers tell you to do, you know the drill. And yeah, let me know as well if you like this sort of format, the sort of let's talk, sort of kind of discussion-esque style we're doing here. Because I think I'm going to make this into a little series when there's stuff I want to talk about that I wouldn't really fit into other sorts of videos. But yes, thank you very much. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Thank you for your time. And I will see you all in the next video. Thank you, and bye-bye.